So day 16 of the hormone cycle. This is the day when it feels like the faucet has been turned off, like your psychological antennas. And if you've got antenna for one child, antenna for your baby, antenna for your partner, antenna for your work, antenna for your house maintenance things, your errands, your beauty care, all of these antennas, it's almost like they get pulled in. And before I understood or began to see the different ways I could experience this day, it was a day when it would kind of scare me a little bit. And it was a day that would evoke a sense of anxiety in me. And I could get like almost like a little flutter in my belly. And it's when you are more prone to feeling oozy, like today. I had a couple of times when I stood up, even though I'm hydrated, I'm nourished, I had all the protein, I did my workout in the morning, I did my meditation. There were a couple of times when I stood up and I felt a little bit oozy. And it was just like for a few seconds. But in the past, there have been times when I've experienced it more. It's like nature's way of helping us bring our attention back here so that we are not totally depleted by keeping our antennas out there. And I've used this analogy when guiding people through meditation, like how as mamas, we can have all of these antennas out. And I mean, it really can be anything. And what meditation does, it helps bring our focus back to us and bring the attention here so we can move from an embodied place. Because when our attention is on the tips of all of these antennas, it can drain us and it can make things feel a lot harder to do than they need to be. And with the same as meditation, it brings our attention here and it brings us back to the present. The hormone cycle, day 16, when our hormones drop, it brings and shifts our focus back to us and into the present moment. And how I've experienced this once I started tracking and actually started to tune in is that it feels like all of a sudden I have all of this space between me and all of my relationships, all of my projects, all of my tasks. And it's a sense of like, oh, wait, what did I need to do? Like, where do I need to go? Like, when you don't understand what it is, it can actually feel pretty scary. But when you do know what it is, it actually feels empowering because it's like, oh my God, I have all of this space and I can just like reconnect and reset. And when you don't know what it is, it's almost like you feel like things are like being pulled away from you, like you're being pulled away from the things that you've worked or were working really hard on. And if you think about it, like physiologically, this is when your egg leaves its ovaries and it gets dropped in to begin the process of potentially being fertilized and the growth process, right? It's the process where life is to develop the potential to grow and develop. And so just like this egg is being taken away from its other egg counterparts, it's leaving what it's known and moving towards a place that is optimal for its, potential growth in life. In the same way, like you can psychologically experience that. It's like, okay, I have all of this space between me and my projects. So now I have a little bit more space to cultivate something new or to see more clearly. It can take a little bit, but I find that during this time and also, with my circumstance, I can get a little bit more sad or like introverted. But knowing this about yourself, when you start tracking, you begin to create these connections. And at first, it can feel one way. It can feel like, well, the truth of this experience is that I'm feeling very anxious. And it is true. But then you stay in it and you realize, oh, I feel like I have so much space between me and this world that I've, been cultivating and developing. And wait, maybe this can actually feel good. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. This kind of feels like a reset. Like I don't have things right at my like forefront beckoning me for my attention and urgency. It actually feels very spacious and light. And this is the time, if you have a relationship with a higher power, where my heart feels like it's totally unraveled and all of these deep places in me, I think of it as like almost like a ladder down into the subconscious, where when I bring my heart to God in these times, it's almost like the deep places of my heart and soul get a chance to drench in the love of God. And if I can stay through these times open, soft hearted, and connected to a higher power, the rest of my cycle feels so much better. I feel like I have more love to give. I feel more connected. I feel more open. I feel more receptive. I feel softer. Life feels fuller. When you feel softer, you can receive things and feel things a little bit more deeply. And like that's what life is about, right? Like it's about being able to feel this expansive part of yourself, this part of you that makes generosity feel easy, that makes presence feel effortless, that makes creating feel thrilling and exciting. Like this is where we have that opportunity, especially if we bring our hearts to a higher power, to God, to Jesus, and open it and ask Him to meet us in the deep places of our soul, maybe areas that we've kind of suppressed or pushed away. Like this is an opportunity to bring it everything out of the closet because we have more space to, and our attention and focus is kind of like right here. So that's kind of been my journey. And throughout my tracking journey, like I had experienced it differently. And if you end up tracking and find that, oh, this feels like a very anxious time, actually, I don't know what Allie's talking about. Well, it's because you're becoming acquainted with this new part of yourself. As you shine your attention on it, new things are going to come up. And then when you stay with it, you'll have a little bit more space. And when you have that evidence before you that's building, you're able to connect with it better. And then you'll have more space to feel like the different ways that it can work for you. And that is the exciting part of this journey. And it's just been such a blessing. And just today, my heart felt so open and broken in the sense of softening before God in prayer. And it really feels like the very roots of your being have an opportunity to experience the sweet love of God. And if I didn't know that, then there have been times where I ended up like crying all day. And then the crying would like exacerbate me into more like it was like the crying that like played off the crying, like tearfulness that played off the tearfulness. And before I knew how to bring my heart to God in this moment, this is actually also what reconnected me back to God, because I realized that as I started to connect more deeply with myself, I was like, there is a part of me that just longs to connect and to experience something deeper. And the only thing that would turn it into strength, like when I would cry on my own before I knew how to bring my heart to God, I would feel depleted. The next following days, I felt like I was recovering from all the rawness and tenderness that it was evoking in me. But when I learned to bring my heart to God, and I could open my heart to God before prayer, like, and I just envisioned myself like connecting with Jesus and telling him about how I'm feeling. When I do that, it's almost like I get filled up and I feel stronger after. I don't feel like I need to recover. I don't feel all this like tender rawness that I'm needing to recover from the next couple of days. Like I actually feel strong and renewed and refreshed. And I mean, it makes me think of all of these different scriptures that I've read throughout my life, but I didn't realize how my connection to God was doing that for me. And it could be very effective, especially for people who've had dysfunctional backgrounds, maybe that like don't have people that they can really depend on, or maybe family members that can't really see them and be there for them and connect with them, who've had their own trauma and dysfunction. But regardless, that was a huge, huge shift. And that's part of the reason why I've said that tracking my cycle had like led me back to God. It got me in touch with that deep need within me that I realized only in connection to God do I feel strong afterwards. When I just try to be with my feelings and feel my feelings and sit with my feelings, it made me feel weaker. It was harder to recover afterwards. When I started to bring my emotion into God, and look at that, the sun shines in right as I'm talking about this. Hi, this happens a lot. It's like my soul gets filled up, regardless of how soon you will start seeing patterns or noticing how your cycle is affecting you. Just know that any mindfulness based practice that invites you to attune and notice the little transitions and shifts and presence throughout your day will only enhance your life, not take away from it. If you don't have a hormone tracking journal, I highly, highly recommend it. It's been life changing for me. And if you have any questions, please reach out. Let me know if I can support you in any way.